Here we go. Why not do them all at once, huh? That's what I'm thinking. Bear with me while I get my camera set up. I'm running this off my phone, so it'll take a second here. And we'll get after it. And I'm going to put this... Oop. An inauspicious start. Let's just do this like this for the moment. I'm not sure what's going on with the camera stand today. There's always something going on with my camera stand. Let's move things back here a little bit. And we're going to get the sound squared away here so you don't get a bunch of feedback. And we'll start having a look at these games. I'm pretty excited. I was not actually expecting these to come in for a few days. So that makes me happy. Let me just reboot this guy. All right. Welcome back to the big board. I'm going to share this out real quick. Let me do that. I'll put this, bear with me here. And we'll do this one more time. Share it out into, where is, we'll just do it this way. All right, I think that's all I can be bothered fixing. So let me get it this way. Just hang in there. A few technical difficulties. I literally got the box 30 seconds ago. I'm so excited. I have not done my usual prep to get a live stream all set up. So here we go. I'm posting this out to Facebook now. We'll get a few folks on. All right. Hey, John, good to see you. Jeff, what's going on? Yeah, let's do it. All right. So I need to bring up, I'm just going to put the feed up on my little laptop here so I can see what you guys are saying easier in the chat. I think I can do that, right? Surely I can do that. My God, this is pretty riveting stuff. I guess not. I guess it doesn't want me to do that. All right. Come on. There we go. Now I should be able to see the comments, if there are any at this point. John, good to see you. And Mark, good evening. I'm going to make sure that the sound is off here. All right. So let's hit it. Let's start with Vietnam. And I'm going to start with that for a specific reason. And I'm going to, let's just try and get this guy open. Primary reason I want to look at this one first is because it will probably be the last to the table, is what I'm guessing. Just based on what I know about the game and my past experiences with it, even with the revisions and the updates and the new maps and new counters, I've seen this sucker being play tested, and it's not super solo friendly, but I'm a fan of the guys who did the reboot, and I am also obviously a fan of the period, and wanted to make sure I owned a copy. I don't think this will ever see daylight for a reprint, so it's kind of a one-shot deal, probably similar to Pacific War and maybe even Barbarossa Army Group Center. You know, they're all kind of one-offs, really. So let's have a look in the box now. Of course, I'm really let's just check out the artwork a little bit here. See if I can get this camera to come up a little higher and stay vertical. I'm having issues with this for some reason. It may be at a little bit of an angle, so I apologize. It's about the best I can do. So just arrived, as I said at the beginning of the video, literally, I don't know, 7 minutes ago or 8 minutes ago, however long I've been online, I just punched the button and said, let's do it, right? So Ralph Shelton, did all of the development for this, and the artwork is a first-time artist and a friend of mine, and I don't know that he likes to have his name bandied about, so we're not gonna talk about that. But he goes by the nickname of B Mode, so that's just kind of cool. And he's a serious grognard. All right, so let's have a look, 90% the same game. Okay, there's just updates, clarifications, rules, cleanup, things like that. They really did try, and Nick insisted on keeping the game as is without making a lot of changes. So first things first, artwork on the box cover and the rule book and the playbook and all that sort of stuff is just pretty fine. I'm really enjoying that. Full color rule book. Much cleaner layout, obviously, than the VG version with full color examples. I haven't heard any complaints yet because I'm sure no one's finished. Even the Tet offensive scenario takes multiple days to play, and I think it's only a turn or two long. So we've got a lot of clear, well-explained, notated rules. They clock in with an index at, what do we got here? 43 pages. Some reading, designer notes, things of that nature. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, too much time on this one. We'll just have a look at it unless you have specific questions. I'll just bring the laptop over here. You guys are just... You guys are cranking along there with the commentary. All right, now keep in mind, I'm having a hard time following the comments and looking at all this stuff going on the screen here. So playbook. Oh, nice. Okay, example of play. This will be useful for us. Now so let's have a look at the scenarios for a second, and maybe there's. I know there are some smaller scenarios like Silver Bayonet. Operation Starlight, introductory scenario. Here's a 2-turn scenario. Still a very long, some of these are very long scenarios if they're, for instance, the Tet offensive, which includes the whole map. Yeah, so Battle for One Corps, here's Tet with the entire play area of the maps, and we'll get to the maps in just a second. Pretty full box too, by the way, just FYI. Easter offensive, so a lot of, and then campaign scenarios where you're going to manage political will and points and fun stuff like that. All right, so that's all good. Let's move the box out of the way. Put the give us some room here. Oh my God, that is heavy. So these are high gloss. I've seen playtest versions of these. I have not seen the finished versions. So here's northern Vietnam. I'm assuming you guys can see that okay. And I just unplugged the light behind me. Well, it's on for young and old today. It's been one of those mornings. So we're going to end up with 3 maps here, right? So the first one, Northern Vietnam. I enjoy this color palette. I think the differentiation for the lowlands, the swamp, mountains, jungle terrain and forests and stuff like that is pretty well done. Let's get this guy open. You've got all your zones laid out here. Population control. The map paper, I would say, is pretty standard thickness for most of the GMT games these days. Now, over on the left here, these are all, I think, your SVN population control zones, and then this gives you sort of a ability to see, what's going on. This is 4 core, 3 core, 2 core areas. And then finally the southern map. Oops, I nearly tore it. That was lucky. All the lowlands. So really clear, crisp fonts, nice color palette. Once again, it's a little softer pastel palette for these lighter areas, but otherwise it's more traditional colors, like the mountain areas here, for instance. You see it slapping the map around. These areas are sort of traditional stuff you would see on most GMT games. So GMT has kind of eschewed the the soft pastel colors that I'm not super fan of. You've got your leadership displays here, leader replacement tables on the map, a lot of stuff on the map. I'm just gonna fold these over. There goes a abduction alert. I'm gonna mute my phone as well. All right, counters. Let's have a look. Wow, okay. I've forgotten how many counters are in this game. I used to own this back in the day. Now, super clean, much tidier, crisper fonts than the prior original version. And of course, now this is where see, these are all Viet Cong, right? All VC. And they're all face up this way. Hidden information, and this is what sort of detracts from the ability to play solo. If folks are interested in trying solo, it is going to be a challenge, but you're going to have these units, and obviously with 3 maps laid out on the table, you are going to have, now obviously, so these are much bigger hexes, right? So these are, I think, 5/8 counters. They might be a little bigger, not sure. Maybe someone can chime in, they can look at their copy. Okay. So yeah, this will impact your solo gameplay ability, of course, but I'm enjoying, compared to the older version of the game, the printing quality has come a long way. Everything seems to be well scented and all that sort of good stuff. It's certainly some additional information counters that I don't recall being in the prior version, which is nice. All right. It's all pretty cool. Once I get into the new house, I'm hoping to have these that you can see, these are the regular quarter-inch size counters, right? The regular size counters compared to the full size, these 5/8 size counters. All right, so these will be useful for monitoring and managing your ops complete for both sides. Let's see what's on the backs. Operating, okay, right, on hold. And then more info markers, right? Very nice. I think I was going to say something and then I cut myself off. I forget what it was. Oh, you know what's in here? I think there's an insert. Yeah, this is why the box is so full. It's got one of these cardboard inserts to hold everything in place. And we'll leave it there for now because it's not punched at the moment, and so we don't need to take that out. I think that's a nice insert for sure from our perspective, but and I guess it keeps everything in place, and I guess you can take these out and keep them if you want to, file them away or something. But once you've punched this bad boy and put counter trays in here, that's going to have to go, right? So charts and tables. Okay, so 2 of everything by the looks of it. So 2 CRTs, tech effects, and yes, as someone commented, no pink terrain. 2 morale charts. And of course, this is all primarily for the campaign game. Levels of commitment. running and managing your strategic bombing and blockading. And your population control reference sheet. Gives you all those details there. There's 2 of those. And this is another 4-page chart. So we've got ops flow chart, so that will help. I don't believe that was in the original version for both Allied and NLF operations. Oh my gosh, okay. And then security, running security and bombardment. Had to go through all that exercise, all those exercises there. That's a nice touch. BMO did a great job with all this. Let's see, so there's 2 of those as well, I believe. Yep. And then we've got a sequence of play chart. And I'm just going to hang out here, guys, and go through this. You're welcome to come and go as you please when you've seen whatever it is you want to see and you want to roll out. I know there's a lot of other people probably doing live stuff at the moment. That's probably doing something that's way more interesting than a shrink rip. But the sequence play, let's have a look at this and sort of go for a little walk down memory lane. Support phase. The Allied player is going to indicate their available air and air mobile and riverine on his record sheet. Put all the corresponding markers on the general record track, and then flip ships to their unused side. Yada, yada, yada. Special ops. He will mark any of his units as hold or on patrol ops. The NLF will do the same. Strategic movement. The Allies are going to move their and conduct security operations and employ their strategic bombing and things like that. And naval transport movement. Ops phase. Designation segment. This is where you're going to go through, in any order, all over the map, your designation of any of these different segments, I think it is. Yeah, from this point on, different types of operations follow different sequences. The following sequences applies in most cases, but see the ops flow chart for variations. Support, movement, alert, combat, retreat, pursuit, interdiction, continuous operations, combat segment, and on it goes, baby. Interdiction phase. And then you get into the seasonal interphases, more record keeping, pacification, strategic war phase. Oh, this is where we're doing our strat bombing. Trail statuses for the Ho Chi Minh Trail, the blockades, political phases, recruitment phases, and the unit status phases. Not much there. You're probably going to want to copy some of these guys. NLF records, SBN records, the good old paperwork that will be required for the alternate populations or for keeping track of population control. I recall this being, we played a 1-core, not what 1-core, I think it was 4-core, the most southern core scenario. And it was like whack-a-mole trying to keep control of the different zones as the VC flooded in. I ended up losing that game pretty badly. That was a long time ago. All right, so a bunch of that stuff. Then there's US record charts as well, sheets and holding boxes, fun stuff like that. So very, I can't speak to the accuracy of everything that's in here and whether it's all done perfectly or not, but boy, beautiful production standards and quality here. So I may run out of voice before we get through this. I'm going to fold these maps up and put them away properly. Put that over there, put the lid over there. I could show you the back of the box, but I'm not going to. Let's see. This is the one that will get to the table before Vietnam, but after these other two. And this feels substantially heavier than I recall the original Barbarossa Army Group Center being, and different finish on this box. It's not a glossy finish. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but super heavy. Something's going on inside here, so we're gonna have to have a look at that. My delivery was 21 pounds. Unbelievable. Yeah. All right. So let's see. On the back here, I'm just trying to see if there's something that's different in here. 1,400 characters, 4 maps, that's the same. Oh, an insert map. Scenarios, evolution, and enhancement of the already published and proven system. Yeah, I've had some challenges with this game system, and it's interesting that the folks that have been working on the revision tell me that it's much improved. I still suspect, though, that this nexus between the supply management and the rail capacity is still going to be an issue. But I will wait and play it before I pass judgment. All right, here we go. I really like this box. It's a different finish. Yeah, look at the difference in the finish on those boxes. Very cool. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, let's see what's so heavy in here. A D10. Rightio. And everything delivered perfectly, well packed. UPS did a good job. Okay, rule book is substantially heavier. That's number one. Playbook. Let's check this action out. It's in full color too. 49 pages. Expanded sequence of play. Now, if I was prepared, and I may do this later on, I have printouts of all of this stuff from the prior version. It'd be interesting to see if there's any differences in the expanded sequence of play. I wonder if there's any new scenarios as well. That'd be worth checking out there. I'm not going to go in detail through all this. Oh, it's got all the counter sheets in here. Wow, okay. Really extensive gameplay examples. Now, they had that in the previous versions as well. There was a lot of that, but it was all black and white and super muddy artwork, really low res nonsense, really hard to read, very difficult. Really did not like the production quality of the first few versions, especially when I paid, like, I think this Army Group Center, when it was out of print, I paid nearly 300, maybe 250 at the time, and sold mine for 300. And then I rebought the entire set and played, I think, 3 of the modules, and then I sold that all off for $500 or $600 at one point. So the prices now, obviously, secondary market have now dropped like a stone. I think you can pick up AGC for $50 now. So if you want to get the older one, you can, but it looks like this might be a significant improvement. First of all, playability-wise and readability-wise, this is fabulous. And matte finish on the rules here as well. Same with Vietnam, much better. So we can mark these up with pencil if you want and stuff like that. I'm probably not going to dig in on the rules. I'm going to do a separate video on the rules and do a compare contrast. I'd like to just see where the differences are. I think that might be of interest to folks. If you've played the old system and either liked it or didn't like it, we'll do a comparative in the next week or two. That'll be something I can actually do in this smaller gameplay space and not piss everybody off, since my son is still living here. Right, so let's pull all this out and see what we got. Whoa. Get that over to one side. Full color game charts, setup charts. Here we go. Yeah, Clay, I will certainly get you up, keep you updated, mate. And for you, particularly, Clay, I don't think you're going to see changes that are going to push the crunchy button for you. So we'll see. And you know, Jeff, I hear you as well. The system, I've mentioned it before, the system has some odd quirks about it, and we'll just leave it at that for the time being. I also know that I have not played as well as I could have when I have played, both solo and opposed. And I also have not played against anyone that I believe is deeply immersed in the system and understands the system effectively. I have not used the supply mechanisms as well as I could, which kind of mitigates my complaint about the supply and the rail stuff and things like that, because I think there's smarter ways to use the trucks and things than I have used them in the past. So look, first of all, this is a huge advance over the prior releases. This was all muddy black and white, very hard to read, and this is all just fantastic. And there's each scenario, front and back, right? You've got your campaign games and all the different scenarios all set up. It's fantastic. Okay, maps. Now this is a big deal. Okay, this is a little, it's probably some sort of little learning scenario, possibly, I guess. Scenario 3, I guess we can check that out real quick. You want to check that out, or you want to keep going? Let's have a look. Scenario 3. I think this was in the prior game as well, but I don't recall it being a separate map. It's 2 1/2 turns, so it looks like it's a training scenario of some sort. So I think that's a smart idea. Yeah, it doesn't have any comment as to the fact that it is a training scenario, just that it's here. So that's cute. All right. Scenario. Oh, here's another learning scenario. Okay. 2 learning scenarios. Well, I would call this a learning scenario. Maybe this is baby steps, then larger baby steps, something like that. This is your stock standard stuff. But once again, we can actually read the charts here and the fine print. Yeah, good point, Lawrence. Look, I like this. It's not that I don't like this system. It's just that I find it's set in the early war. I don't believe the game system can support the late war, given its asymmetric nature. It's certainly a clean, straightforward system. I believe OCS, particularly now with all the changes that have made to supply, is a significantly better system from a combat perspective. And then managing supply is a lot easier. Now with OCS, they're making a lot of changes to the supply rules. So anyway, look, this is all, if you've played before, this is bulk standard stuff. Nice clear artwork though to help us run through CRTs and DRMs for combat, and then the beneficials for each side. And then inside here, this all looks pretty standard. We've got your divisional integrity, combined arms bonus, the surrender tables, the retreat tables, how to handle losses when you've got one of those asterisk losses, attrition, how to do overruns, which is a little different than most other games. The very abstract air war, which is fine. 2 of those. Units, I guess. Oh, yeah, here we go. So who can move and when in the different phases? Important to know this. So because depending on the side, different units are going to move at different times with the different movement capabilities. And without looking at the sequence of play, I'm not going to try and butcher the rules for you there. How to use artillery, how to use operating and non-operating HQs, how to read the units. All of that was in the previous game as well. 2 of those, expanded sequence play. So just a quick primer here. The same for everybody's doing this, I believe. Both sides, right? Check your supply. Here's where the meat, where the rubber hits the road. The Axis will always move first, and in their movement phase, all of their ground units will be able to move. Yeah. Then they'll declare their attacks, and once declared, you've got to execute them. The Soviets will have an opportunity to react. Most of the time, if you're a smart Axis player, you're going to keep those reactions to a minimum so that they don't screw up your attacks that you've planned. I think I made a comment earlier that with combat, once you declare it, you've got to do it. That's not necessarily the case. I don't recall now if that's accurate or not. The combat phase, putting your air in, putting your arty in, declaring all your attacks. Then after all that, it's that classic movement that you've seen many, many times in many games, where you'll have your motorized units will then get to have a secondary movement, and they may do overruns, but they won't be, and they'll even be able to do some combat as well. All right, but just for motorized engineering. Now the Soviets, it's different. This is where it becomes asymmetric. Soviet motorized units move their full movement first. They declare their attacks. The Axis react, and they have more flexible reaction rules. Soviets combat. So what that means is that it's often easier for the Axis to avoid nasty combats than it is for the Soviets to avoid nasty combats. Soviet movement phase, full movement, all of the infantry units, which is all after combat, right? All of the infantry units now get to move. So for a Soviet infantry unit to participate in a combat, it needs to end its prior turn adjacent to an Axis unit. That's going to be very difficult to do unless the Axis want you to attack or aren't paying attention. So now, in this second movement phase, all of your motorized units will get to move again, but half their movement points. There's rules around all that. Engineering, etc., surrender, recovery. All good. 2 of those. Tracking charts for everything, active units, ready units, all that sort of nonsense. Then game turn charts, more charts. What is this for? Step reduction tracking. Okay, that's cool. Now the maps. I'm hoping these look like the same print quality as previously. The artwork on these is nothing short of beautiful. They're a pleasure to behold. You go jump on my YouTube channel or go look at any of the blog posts I've made with photographs, and you'll see, acres of map, and glorious looking in all their expansiveness. Yeah. So there's a bunch of maps here. This is map C from the AGC, which I am holding upside down. Knaus. I'm trying to find something notable. Vilnius. I'm just checking comments here. State-of-the-art charts and setup cards. Yep. Yeah, I'm hoping I'll catch you guys on Vassal tomorrow, guys. I know I missed you last week. I said I was going to be there, but I will be interested in following along. All right, I'm not going to go through all these maps, but here you can see Brest. So we're on the border here with the Axis, where the Axis and the Soviets first kick off their battles. All the swamps. Map H is going to be further in. Yeah, here's Gommel, and I guess over here, where we get, whoa, come here. This is in the middle of the map. All right, let's see what else we got going on, fellas. Here we are on the northern section with the big red primary road, my favorite. Smolensk here, Orsha, and Minsk down here on the left-hand side of the screen, which you can't see right there. That map looks like it's probably going to, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Oh, come on. Really? There we go. All right. All right, guys, I need a sip of water. Bear with me for a second. Getting a dry throat here. All right. I think this is what a lot of the weight is, too, is the counter sheets. There's a lot of counter sheets here. run this bad boy through the back into the box. No insert with this one. Look at that bad boy. All right, so you've got, let me see if I can zoom in. Now this is where I'm going to have trouble with the freaking camera. Yay. As long as it doesn't slide too badly. I'm not going to go over every square inch of the yeah, here we go. Let me zoom back out again. All right. Everything looks like it's all done nicely. When air's placed, it's placed in a sort of hidden mode. So arguably it's not solo friendly, but it's never been an issue for me. I just put the units down and we go for it. All of the Soviet forces and their tank units, their red movement rates. Huh, okay, that's interesting. That's different. So I'm wondering what that is for. Maybe it's just for sorting when you're pulling random units, maybe? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. These are all hidden units here. So that's gonna, oh gosh. Sorry, fellas. Let's see, how can I get this to sit up? My little stand has like 15, it's a new stand, has 15 different means of making things stay, and it's not doing it very well. Sit, stay. It's like a dog, you've got to talk to it. All right. Lots of tiny Soviet units with ineffectual combat and defense factors, right? It's painful to try and get a decent defensive line going when you're dealing with ash and trash like all these guys. But there's a quantity here that if you hang on long enough, you can stem the tide. And there we go, info markers on both sides. All right, there we go. Very nice, very, very nice. We now, so this might be an opportunity with those two learning scenarios. Maybe we get this to the table sooner than I thought. So once again, beautiful box, kind of almost a satin finish to it. Really nice, like that a lot. Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. I think it's 9 pounds or something like that. All right. You all know this is not solo friendly, but that does not stop you from playing solo, my friends. Oh my God. Camera, right. I'm gonna change stands, bear with me. Let me just fix this bullshit. Let me find my other stand. I have a stand here somewhere. It's a highly professional outfit. Bear with me. Let's see if we can get this bad boy to stay up. We'll switch this out without deleting anything. All right. Put that over here. Out of the way. And I will try and hold this up so that you can see everything. All right. Extended example of play. And when we say extended, what do we mean? 16 pages. those people that love to read through things and look at things to learn, this is your huckleberry. Well, that's pretty impressive. Now, I have not seen any of the Shrinkrips from anybody else. I know there's a bunch of them out there. At least I assume there are. Interesting. I really enjoyed the old system of playing some of the smaller scenarios, and I played a couple of bigger ones opposed. We had some issues with bits and pieces, but that was just a function of very poor rules editing and formatting in the Victory Games system. Super. Now, I'm curious to see. Yeah, I read about this. I read these designer notes. I printed this out when they were released. The changes to the submarines are great. So that's critical because that was a broken part of the game. Scenario booklet, 66 pages. The cool thing to know here is there's 3 types of scenarios. Well, I guess 4 types of scenarios basically, but the engagement and battle scenarios are where like the meat of the game really is. Lots of fun here. I've played Pearl Harbor. I've played the raid on Darwin. I've played the Battle of the Java Sea. I played the Coral Sea. Played Midway. I ran a couple of these, and then we did a campaign scenario. I don't know which one it was. I think it was the Guadalcanal. We played that one as well. I think we might have played that twice or 1.5 times because my buddy ended up throwing dice across the room. It was pretty funny. I've always thought that running these campaigns or these strategic scenarios would be very, very cool, but gee whiz, it's a lot of work, bro. So big, clean setups. This is really nice. So instead of, you get both, I guess, hex numbers and locations by the looks of it, where to set stuff up. So that'll make life easier. Set up, breakdown will be faster. Very good. Now, the cool thing here is you all probably know if you saw Mark Herman's video, which that one I did watch. 3 sets of rules. Core rules that you will need to read some of. Engagement rules, you can just, if you're playing an engagement, you will only need this rule book. You won't need the other 2. And you should be able to run a game and have your fun right here in this one set of rules with 40 pages of rules, right? So you're good to go. We'll get into the charts and stuff in a minute. Very nice. And then when you're ready to graduate, you go to here. You go to the battle scenarios, and you'll go to the battle rules, and there'll be some updates and changes. Well, updates. There'll be some extensions of the rules. You'll learn more about different aspects of the scenarios and things like that, and the system. You'll get into the full thing when you're playing the whole shooting match. Then you'll just need this rule book. That's my understanding. So there will be some redundancy in these 3 rule books, but hopefully it's clean and crisp. Now, I have seen that there were a small number, or perhaps a significant number, I don't really know yet because it's all early days, of counter errata, and most of them, from what I've seen of Mark's commentary, they are non-impactful or not an impact in a meaningful way to how the game is played. So that's probably good news. All right, let's see. This guy is going to be, yes, half-inch counters. I saw this question here. What do we got going on? I'm just looking for comments here, questions. All right, so we'll get to the counters. Well, let's have a look at the counters, and then we'll look at the maps, because there's a lot of counter sheets. Just get through these guys. Just a ton, just a metric ton of counters, right? I'll show you the backside of this guy here. I'm sure, assuming you can see those clear enough. There were some revisions to some of the values of the counters as well, from what I read. that is counter sheet number 2. Where's counter sheet number 1? That's right here in my hand. All right. I was making sure I wasn't missing it. So lots of air, obviously enough. Brits, others, more Japanese. Foot sloggers. Japanese Marines. More American Air. U.S. Navy. Anyone want to see a favorite ship? We can have a look at the Alabama and the Iowa and the New Jersey here. Oops. Am I crooked again? Son of a gun. I tell you, today is just not the day. Today is not the day. All right. Japanese Navy. Submarine patrol markers. Info markers. Hidden task force markers. Sorry, these are task force markers. These are just probably used off map or on map to hide what's there. Then, yeah, see, got these spotted things here. Hit markers and bases and information markers. Dude, it's only 10 counter sheets. It's not that big. It's not that big, he said. Let's get this nonsense out of the way. My favorite chart ever. Look at this bad boy. Also much clearer and easier to read than the original. The search chart. So much information in such a little amount of space. It's fantastic. Same goes for the combat results tables and how that all works. The troop losses and combat results table, also fascinating how that works. And then this is just merchant shipping attrition and stuff like that, I think. Yeah, so all that. So you put that up and you block your opponent from seeing, and then you've got a list here, and you just roll your dice and away you go. Not that we did that when we played, we just had it all open pretty much because, kept your task forces off to one side. This is shared, I think. No, this is display sheet for the Japanese to off to one side. So all your task forces here, bits and pieces, and then you've got this phase track, which is the sort of heart and soul of the game, right here. And how these phases move through depend on what happens in the turn, and then how time will pass. That will determine how much time will pass, which will indicate the end of a given phase or day, as the case may be. Allied screen, same deal, same charts. He also gets the same doohickey here, right, with all this nonsense. All of his, because here is also where it's somewhere in here, we're going to set down what our intel level is for the turn and how many command points we're going to spend to try and take initiative so that we get to run the first operation or choose to run the first operation, as the case may be. All that sort of stuff happens here. Here's our little time. Here we go. What have we got here? Yes, our strategic initiative is what it's called. And we're bidding on operational intelligence, strategic initiative, and here's your time cycle. This is going to, based on what's happening in the different phases, it's going to determine how much time is consumed here. Individual capital ships are named. Yes, vintage New York radio. I'm trying to see what else is in here. Yeah, very cool. All right, now, lots of other bits and pieces here. Force displays with the screening and the core units. You've got to do all that. I always found these to be too small, no matter how big they are, but that is what it is. There's a bunch of them, though. With information on how to use these, even. That's pretty nice. All right, very cool. All right. Let's have a look at these maps. So, well, stuff is sliding. the table. Let's not have any casualties. Hang on one second. Put all the counters back in the box. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to lay this all out perfectly. If you don't know what the map looks like by now, you can go look at it on Board Game Geek. What I don't want to do is look. It's a black map. All right, put this up the allegedly the right way. Move this box out of the way. Okay. This is map 1. Hawaiian Islands. I'm going to try and... So Hawaiian Islands, Marshalls, New Hebrides, USSR Japan, right? Bear with me. Try not to knock the camera over. This will all sit flat a little bit. We can always fold it back anyway. We've got a terrain key on the map. That's nice to see. And this second map will go here. And let's just bring it in so we can have a look at it, because there's a lot going on here. Australia, New Guinea, Guadalcanal's down here somewhere, Bougainvillea, Caroline Islands, Marianas, Saipan, and then you've got Borneo, Indonesia, Java, you know, all that sort of good stuff. So it's a different perspective, right? You know, that's one thing that has taken some folks a little bit to get used to. You know, you can probably play one person here if you wanted. All right, so there's those two maps, right? He said with his crooked frickin' camera. God bless it. It's really pissing me off. Very cool. Really nice. Kind of shiny, but nice. Up here in the corner, we've got weather conditions. Weather conditions, terrain chart, and some holding boxes. And now, you know, the little piece de resistance is the Coral Sea map. It's a little one map, paper map, where you will be able to play many scenarios that are in the battle and the engagement scale games, I believe, right here. Would have been cool if they did a full-size map with larger hexes. That might have been nice. I bet you that'll come out as an option at some point. But you can run a bunch of, you know, I bet you the Battle of Coral, obviously Coral Sea, duh. Solomon Sea stuff will be able to be done here as well. Obviously, the Guadalcanal campaign should be able to be done in here. I think that this is a really smart idea. So it's a lot of scenarios can be played off one little map. And that allows you to not have to have this larger footprint deal out. I'm about to cry with my camera stands today. All right, so there's that. Now, last thing, log sheets, replacement records. You'll need those, and you can probably copy those as well, I imagine. All right, I'm going to put this all back in the box, and then we'll have a quick look at these are really quite substantial maps. You can see how thick they are, right? Good cardstock. That's why the thing weighs 9 pounds, I guess. 2 dice. All right, that is just a monster effort by Mark Herman to get this guy done. I'm super impressed. Super impressed. Very nice. Take some water. All right, one more. more to go. So my intention is that we will play a smaller engagement or battle out of Pacific War in the very near future. We're going to do this next. This is the next game up for me. You're probably all well aware, I'm sure that's the same 40 awesome guys that are usually on my chat. Let me see who's commenting here. Yeah, this guy, let's see. Yeah, I imagine, Kenneth, in terms of the shininess of the map for the Pacific War, I imagine that putting some plex down will help, number one. But yeah, there's a fair amount of glare. You could see, I have very bright lights in here. I don't have any dimmer control on any of the lights in this rental that we're in at the moment. So it kind of is what it is. Well, look, there you go. Big old German tank. Not bad artwork, right? So, anyone who knows Mr. Simonich will know the system, the Zockbond system is what I call it. I'm sure it has an official name. I don't really know what it's called. But really well done game system, generally speaking, with very, very tightly balanced scenarios and campaigns. Stalingrad 42 has been one of my favorites with my buddy Steve. He and I have played that, I think, maybe 2 or 3 times now, maybe just twice, I don't know. I've played it, the campaign once solo, and had a couple of battle scenarios that I played by myself, just testing out the opening moves and things like that for the Germans and the Soviets. And then, what's the other one that I like? I enjoy Ardennes 44. I'm about to start Normandy 44 on Vassal with a dude, with Chris, this buddy of mine, Chris. And then I've also enjoyed Holland 44, but my favorite is probably Ukraine 43. I think that's probably one of the best modules of the series. So hopeful for this, and I've been reading Rick Atkins' book that's all about the Italian campaign, and I just finished the Salerno 43 landings reading just the other day, and interestingly enough, it's got me sort of re-engaged with the Death Ride Kursk system and their Salerno module. So I've borrowed back the 16th Panzer module from my friend Todd from Wardrobe. He has his own channel called Itinerant Hobbyist or Wardrobe. You should go check him out. And Jeff, by the way, I didn't give you props, man. Go check out Jeff's Hex to Hex channel. You probably all know him anyway. He's become the legit guy lately. So yeah, so I'm looking for, if you are a war gamer and monster gamer and you happen to own any of the Death Ride Kursk Salerno modules and you don't want them anymore and prepared to sell them for a reasonable price, I'm prepared to buy them from you. So just, if you see them on sale anywhere, please let me know, because I really want to get the full 4 modules and explore the Salerno battle, particularly given that the war, the modules from Death Ride deal specifically with the counterattack by the Axis, and it's was a pretty near run thing. All right, so here we go. Here's a map. Let's have a look at this map first. I'm going to move the camera around a little bit. Turn record track, benchmark VPs, which is a classic part of the Simonich style. So you've got to be on track to with these VPs within a certain band. And if you're not, you lose, automatically lose, or gain an automatic victory. And hopefully that'll be in here somewhere. We'll have a look for it. Terrain, weather, sequence of play. Well, weather, move, combat, all pretty standard stuff. We've got to do a landing here, so that's going to be interesting to see how that's ruled up. I guess Normandy 44 did that, so it shouldn't be anything brand new. Here's the little valley they landed in. Pretty tough terrain to land in, actually. Well, not tough to land in, but tough to break out of. And then there should be, I think there's another map. Maybe there's not. These are just exit areas or entrance areas. See, this phone just wants to fall over. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. No, that's it. Okay. One map. So once again, it would have been, for me, it would have been nice if this was a larger map, a full-size map with larger hexes. That just would have been cool. Or put this off on a chart somewhere. Anyway, all right, setup charts for campaign and the avalanche scenario. Scenario S14, optional start. Gotcha. The scales, pretty much everything looks like everything's going to be battalion scaled here, battalions and brigades by the looks of it. Do I see any companies? No companies, so that's good. Rules, we're clocking in 32 with an index. Full color, matte finish, nice production quality. You know, one of the hallmarks of the system also is where units have either an elite designation or a low quality designation, or are army units of certain types. You're going to receive column shifts on the combat, which can be really a beatdown and pretty deadly when you start piling up effective units and air and artillery and support from HQs and stuff like that. It gets to be a bit of a beatdown sometimes. I found that in Stalingrad 42 particularly. New concept here. Half effectiveness. Don't know what that is. We'll have to check that out. Probably something to do with post-landing or something like that. Our Zoc bonds. That's how you isolate things and stop things from moving. From here to here is not a move that can be made because you have 2 units with overlapping Zoc bonds. Combat is really pretty much straightforward, but it looks like we're going to have the same concept of the main assault force, which comes from Normandy 44. And then naval support will be a big deal in this game too. It should be anyway. It features heavily in the actual battle. CRT, we'll check that. Here we go. So with the latest versions of this game, the different colors here denote what's going on with the. Depending on what result you get, it's gonna determine what type of advance you can make and stuff like that. So that makes it a lot easier. You're not going back to the rule book to check things out. Disruptions, which is what's going to happen. You either are disrupted or in full retreat when you lose combat, depending on how severe the result is. There are breakthroughs. We'll have to do a little quick read on that to make sure it's the same as Stalingrad 42, etc. Isolation and attrition. Usually it's hard to kill off units. Specialized units, replacements, beachheads, and naval transports. Reinforcement, weather. All right. And then what's going to be the delta? What do we need to pull auto victories out? VPs a moment, 2 or more Allied combat units from 5th Army. Yeah. Enter zones off the map. Automatic victory. So, under pressure to achieve success quickly. Starting on turn 4, each space on the record has a track. If the Allied VPs that I showed you earlier are 5 or more points above that, or reaches 20 or more points, boom, he wins. All right, there's your metric. The game player wins automatically if the Allied player is at least 5 or more below that benchmark. All right. Turn 1 special rules, optional rules, the campaign game, and designer notes. There we go. Hints on play, example of play. charts. You've got the concepts here of determined defense and rallying and the sequence of play and the invasion CRT, all pretty straightforward terrain effects, which have all your combat impact on it. I guess we haven't looked at the counters yet. One counter sheet. How much did I pay for this game? Hopefully it wasn't too much. There's not a lot in the box. But it's the gameplay that matters, right? So it looks like everything's pretty much set okay. Not a lot of units for the Germans. Interesting. Americans, Brits. All right, well, that's a neat, tidy little package. Hopefully this wasn't $80. I think the pre-order was a lot less. But let's have a look at the map here real quick. So Salerno proper. I believe the Brits landed here on this section. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, and Derby's Rangers were up here. That is correct. And they called in lots of naval strikes from there. Red Beach and Blue Beach. So 6th Corps, follow on. 56th Division, 46th Division. So yeah, I think this is the Brits here, and this is the southern section is the Americans. All right, very interesting. Okay, fellas. Well, look, let's see. Boom! I'm super excited about getting these games to the table. We'll start with this guy, this Salerno 43, and give it a run for its money, and we'll see how it goes. And then after that, Pacific War. If you have a vehement objection to any of those things, let me know, and maybe I'll change my mind, but I doubt it. All right, thanks for checking in. Let me just check the chat here real quick. Looks like you're all good. Talk to you soon. All the best.